You write in this letter that President Daly essentially failed to answer your request for information about SVB's collapse. Did she reply at all, Senator? What did she say?
Well, we've gotten a letter that's just a dismissive response, but not a substantive response, which is why I've teamed up with Jim Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, and I'm the ranking member of the Senate Commerce Committee, to engage in oversight and to examine why the San Francisco Fed was essentially asleep at the wheel. The San Francisco Fed is who had supervisory responsibility for Silicon Valley Bank. The duration risks on these bonds was evident on the face of it. And yet the approach of the San Francisco Fed seems to be that oversight cannot be applied to it, that it doesn't have to respond to the American people, it doesn't have to respond to Congress. And the consequence was billions of dollars that went up in smoke because the regulators failed to catch this and do their job.
The Federal Reserve is now going to release an internal review they have about this collapse. It was supposed to be due before May 1st, and it's coming out this Friday. Were you alerted to this, or is the San Francisco Fed potentially just saying to you, wait for the Fed's review that's going to be out this week?
You know, the problem is the San Francisco Fed and all of the branch offices of the Fed have a long history of essentially ignoring congressional inquiry. And in fact, I've joined together on bipartisan legislation along with Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth and I don't agree on a lot of things, but we've joined together on this to subject these banks to FOIA requests so that they can be subject to oversight from Congress and subject to oversight from the public, because right now their attitude is that they can't or shouldn't be scrutinized, and I think that's the wrong attitude.
Well, indeed, we're definitely living in a new world, Senator, when you and Elizabeth Warren are singing the same song. So let me ask you, depending on what you find here, what will be the accountability? We've been talking about this story. Of course, it's a top story for us on Bloomberg for weeks now. Who gets punished for this?
Yeah. Look, it's a real problem, and you saw the Biden administration step in and bail out the customers at Silicon Valley Bank, and they did that. I think many of those customers were politically well-connected, political supporters of the president, and I got to say that leaves a lot of Main Street sitting behind wondering, well, what happens if I don't have a lobbyist with stroke in this White House? And we need to have clear standards that apply, that are transparent, and I'm really concerned about the fallout. In particular, I'm concerned that we're seeing a flight of capital away from community banks, away from mid-sized banks to the giant banks, and I think that's really harmful. One of the great strengths of our economy is the multitude of small community banks we have that finance small businesses, that finance entrepreneurs, and if depositors say, well, I'm safe if I'm at a giant bank, but at a smaller bank I'm not, that really has a negative impact across the board.
Senator, the other big story, of course, our viewers are focused on is the debt ceiling. And in your book, in your opening chapter, you talk about this clean debt ceiling that was going to be orchestrated under the Obama administration, but no Republicans wanted their fingerprints on it. Do you think if McCarthy and Biden can't reach a deal, Senate Republican leaders need to make sure that the country lifts the debt ceiling?
Well, listen, for anything to move forward, it's going to have to go through the House of Representatives. And so the Biden White House's position right now, I think, is wildly unreasonable. Where we are right now, rewind the clock a little bit. Go back to the year 2000. In the year 2000, you know what our national debt was? It was just $5 trillion. $5 trillion in 2000. Then what happened? George W. Bush became president, and in 8 years, our national debt doubled from $5 trillion to $10 trillion. In 2008, Barack Obama became president. And in the next 8 years, our national debt doubled again from $10 trillion to $20 trillion. So it took 42 presidents over 200 years to build up $5 trillion in debt. And two presidents, one Democrat, one Republican, quadrupled the debt in just 16 years. We're now at about $32 trillion. What we're doing is irresponsible. And I think it is critically important for leaders in the House and leaders in the Senate to force real spending reforms. Now, let me be clear. under no circumstances should the United States default on our debt. And there's one person on planet Earth who could make that 100% certainty. That's Joe Biden. A responsible president would say, we will never default on our debt. But Biden doesn't want to do that because he wants to scaremonger and threaten a default rather than negotiate and actually address this out-of-control spending and debt.
Well, Senator, we've been talking about this, of course, every day on this program, and we've been hearing daily from Republicans who are not open to a clean debt ceiling bill, I realize, yet actually voted for 3 of them during the Trump administration, to your point, when $7 trillion was added to the U.S. debt. So why is it different now? Why not soothe the markets with a clean debt limit bill?
Well, number one, we just came through the past 2 years where Democrats, with a Biden White House and a Democrat majority in the House and Senate, went on the biggest spending spree in modern history. It's what's produced the inflation that is ravaging consumers, ravaging families all across this country, as Democrats spent trillions of dollars we didn't have, printed the money, and many of us, myself included, made clear, if you do this, we're going to see the inflation that's happening right now. We were right. That they dismissed that, and their view, they don't want to fix it. They don't want to address it. I believe we should use the debt ceiling as leverage to force real and meaningful fiscal reforms. Now, it doesn't mean we have to fix everything. But if you look back to 2010, in 2010, Congress passed the Budget Control Act. Why did it do so? Because Republicans held the line. And Barack Obama blinked and agreed to the Budget Control Act on the debt ceiling, and it saved massive amounts of money reducing the debt. We should do that again. By the way, Graham Rudman before that came from the debt ceiling. What is different now is Joe Biden is saying he's not willing to negotiate at all. That's irresponsible.
Senator, but Joe Biden is saying he wants to see a budget, and then he's willing to negotiate. I have 30 seconds left. We have a hard break. The president has announced his reelection. When are you going to announce who you support, and is that the former President Trump?
Look, I'm running for reelection for Senate in the state of Texas in 2024. I'm focused on reelection. Biden's policy agenda could not have been more of a disaster between inflation, crime, chaos at the southern border, and disaster on foreign policy. Cruz. The American people are ready to change.
More time with you. Come back and see us again, Senator.
Senator, thank you so much for your time. Senator Ted Cruz there.